You should get into a rap battle.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah, I think that would be great.
I feel like that's just.
I
feel like those things are of the moment.
The relationship between Jay-Z and Drake is a prime example of what you might call frenemies in the realm of hip-hop. They've been on songs together and have dissed each other on several songs as well. So it's understandable some people are confused by their back and forth, and hopefully I can help provide some clarity. We're going to be taking a look at the relationship, including their collaborations, and pointing out where things seem to have gone amiss. If you followed the career of either artist, then you probably have noticed something the two have in common when it comes to the way they handle rap beefs, and if you haven't, then it should become much more apparent. In February 2009, Drake released his third mixtape, So Far Gone, and then got signed by Lil Wayne to Cash Money Young Money. In September that year, he re-released So Far Gone as an EP, and on it is the song Fear, on which Drake makes a mention of Jay-Z, one that makes it quite clear how he holds him in high esteem. On the second verse, he has the lines, "I never cried when Pac died, but I probably will when Hove does, and if my tears hold value, then I would drop one for every single thing he showed us, and I'll be standing in a puddle." So we already have evidence of Drake being a clear Jay-Z fan. That same month, Jay-Z released his 11th album, Blueprint 3, which has the track Off That, featuring Drake on the chorus, marking their first collaboration. Then on the single, A Star Is Born featuring J. Cole, Jay-Z raps about various other rappers he's seen during his career. On his second verse, he mentions Drake with the lines, "Snoop Dogg did, Nelly came down, the Face Mob kept it ghetto for the H-Town, Luda moved ditches after he moved bitches, Drake's up next, see what he do with it." So, that quick, Drake got featured on a Jay-Z album and mentioned in another song on that same album. So their relationship started on pretty good terms, it would seem. We're going to get into how things started to break down though in a minute. In October that year, Jay-Z made an appearance at Much Music in Toronto, and he was asked about Drake, to which he would say that he's talented and give him some advice.
Well, Drake, amazing. I know that you're a fan, I know you've worked with him, and he speaks really highly of you. So, I mean, he is already at that point where he could blow up into craziness. So what do you wish that somebody would have told you at that point?
I just, he just needs to focus. I mean, he's proved that he's very talented, with that mixtape, which was phenomenal. He proves she likes it. He proved that he's very talented. So he just has to maintain that focus, because right now all the eyes are on him, and not lose that. And if he say, I think he's going to be fine.
Later that year, Drake had an interview with Wrap Up TV in which he mentioned that he has a song that he wants to get Jay-Z on for his debut album.
I actually get the record from Jay-Z in the studio. Gotta tell us more. Well, I mean, I hope he likes it. I just did it. I'm gonna shoot it to him and see if he likes it. But it's crazy. It's actually produced by the one that I wanted to use. Produced by these dudes from Toronto, Tony Masons, and they co-produced with 40. And it is like a special record.
In June 2010, Drake released his debut album, Thank Me Later, which has the track Light Up featuring Jay-Z. On Jay's verse, he speaks to Drake, giving him some advice with the lines, "Drake, here's how they gonna come at you, with silly rap feuds trying to distract you, in disguise in the form of a favor, the Barzini meeting, watch for the traitors." Over the years since the release of the album, Drake has been embroiled in multiple rap beefs, including Meek Mill, Joe Budden, Kendrick Lamar, and even Jay-Z himself. Those other situations I've covered on the channel already, so check them out too. On the album's outro, Thank Me Now, Drake has lines that some have interpreted as a reference to Jay-Z. Those being, "I can relate to kids going straight to the league when they recognize that you got what it takes to succeed, and that's around the time that your idols become your rivals, you make friends with Mike but got to AI him for your survival." Allen Iverson, as a rookie, crossed over Michael Jordan in an NBA game back in 1997. If those lines are indeed a reference to Jay-Z, then of course Drake would be Allen Iverson in this situation, while Jay would be Michael Jordan. Shortly after the release of the album, Drake had an interview on MTV with DJ Envy, and he was asked about Light Up, and he would explain how his verse came about.
the joint with you and Jay-Z on the album, right? Now, you know, I know you and Jay are cool.
Yeah,
but it still has to be a little competitive when you go in and lay in your verse and him going and laying his verse, because I know you trying to eat him up, he trying to eat you up.
Yeah.
Now, when you listen to his verse, you be like, woo, he's going in, or same thing with Jeezy's verse or Wayne's verse.
Yeah, usually when it's your album, you got to do your verse first. It's
Right.
kind of like rare that someone will send you a song and be like, get on my album.
Did you ever want to do your verse over and be like, you know what?
You know what? Actually, my verse was way harder on Light Up before. And a song that I had used I had done a song and then the song was never supposed to, nothing was supposed to happen with it and it leaked. And then like the bars from that song were just so hard. It was a song with Big Sean. And those bars, like there were some bars on that song that fit so much better on Light Up. It made so much more sense. And like the last night before mastering, I had to go in and switch the first like 12 bars. So on Light Up, I lost my footing a bit. Jay came and killed me on that. Jay killed me. That's what I think.
Drake around this time announced that he and Lil Wayne were going to be putting out a collaboration album after Wayne got out, as at this time he was locked up on Rikers Island over weapon possession charges. Then in August that year, Drake and fellow co-founders 40 and Oliver launched the festival OVO Fest, and Jay-Z made a guest appearance. That next year in August, Jay-Z and Kanye West released the collaboration album Watch the Throne, asserting their dominance as two of the biggest names in rap. A few months earlier in May, DJ Khaled put out the single I'm On One from his 5th album We the Best Forever, which was also released that year. The track features Drake, Lil Wayne, and Rick Ross, and Drake ends his verse with the lines, "Me and 40 back to work, but we still smell like a vacation. Hate the rumors, hate the bullshit, hate these fucking allegations. I'm just feeling like the throne is for the taking." Also around this time, the Drake song Dreams Money Can Buy leaked, and on the second verse he has the lines, "And I feel like lately it went from top 5 to remaining 5. My favorite rappers either lost it or they ain't alive. And they trying to bring us down, me, Weezy, and Stunner. We stayed up, Christmas lights in the middle of summer." Between the lines from those two songs, some felt that Drake was throwing shots at Jay and Ye, as Drake himself has stated that they're two of the artists that influenced him musically, and the line about the throne being for the taking is seen as a reference to the Watch the Throne album. Drake took to Twitter shortly afterwards, however, to deny dissing Jay in response to the rumors. Then in August that year, after the release of Watch the Throne, Lil Wayne released his 9th album, The Carter 4. On the song It's Good, featuring Jadakiss and Drake, Wayne seemed to respond to lines Jay-Z had about him on the song Ham, which was the lead single from Watch the Throne. The Jay lines themselves were a response to Birdman from a 2009 interview in which he reacted to Jay-Z being given the #1 spot on MTV's Top 10 Hottest Rappers list in 2009. Birdman would state that Lil Wayne is the hottest rapper as they make the most money. I'm sure they make a lot, but I doubt it's more than Jay-Z, and besides that, I wonder if anyone told Birdman that rapping ability has nothing to do with how much money you make. Jay responded with the lines, "Niggas fantasize about the shit that I do daily, like these rappers rap about all the shit that I do really. I'm like, really? $500 million? Nigga, really? You got baby money? Keep it real with niggas. Niggas ain't got my lady money." The lady he's referring to, of course, would be Beyonce, who he had gotten married to in 2008. Wayne responded to that with the lines, "Talking about baby money, I got your baby money, kidnap your bitch, get that how much you love your lady money." Those lines, of course, will be a reference to kidnapping Beyonce and holding her for ransom. Drake in his verse appears to make a reference to Wayne and Jay with the lines, "Mind in one place, heart in another, please pardon my brother, he's just angry at you niggas who don't have your heart in your rap shit and got too fucking comfy." If the Lil Wayne lines are a response to Jay, then it would be pretty clear that these Drake lines are aimed at him too. Wayne and Jay have had a bit of an on and off relationship, and Drake being close to Wayne seemed to follow suit, you could say. Also, those lines might extend to Ye as well, given the collab album. The whole Cash Money, Young Money, and Jay-Z issue is an actual thing. It's especially obvious if you look at some of the things Nicki Minaj in particular has had to say about Jay-Z and Roc Nation. Later that year, Drake had an interview with Billboard, and he was asked about the Grammys as he had been nominated several times at that point but had not yet won any. Drake would say that the one that really hit him was when he lost out on the Grammy for Best rap solo performance for Best I Ever Had to Jay's song DOA, Death of Autotune. Then in November that year, Jay-Z sent Drake a handwritten note congratulating him on the sales for his second album, Take Care, which was released in November that year. Also around this time, Drake had an interview with XXL in which he would announce that the collaboration album between him and Lil Wayne was shelved because they didn't want to be seen as competing with the Watch the Throne album and get caught up in the hype of it. Then in September 2013, Drake released his third album, Nothing Was the Same, and just like his first album, Jay-Z was featured on a song. The outro of the album is 2 songs, and Jay-Z is featured on the part called Pound Cake, which was also released as one of the singles for the album. Apparently, the song was actually supposed to be on Jay's 2012 album Magna Carta Holy Grail, but he changed his mind and let Drake have it. When the album was released, Drake had an interview on Hot 97 with Angie Martinez, and she asked him about the song and Jay, in which she would say positive things like Jay is a good mentor.
We played Pound Cake.
We did.
Were you and Jay in the studio together?
No, I actually
Boo.
in a rare. Well, no, we were, but Jay did his verses first, and originally that his verses were on a different beat. And I worked up the nerve to ask him not only for the song that I had heard, but I actually worked up the nerve to ask him for the acapella because I wasn't crazy about the
beat.
Well, I just said that I wasn't crazy about it. I just had an idea for it, and so you know, me and Boy Wonder and 40 kind of put our minds together and made this other beat. And when we sent it back to Jay, you know, shout out to OG Juan. OG Juan was like, man, this song, this is one of those ones. This is gonna be a moment in New York. So. We knew it was kind of a special moment. It was definitely following the trend of Light Up and what people want from me and Jay. I think a lot of the time, you know, like a song like Paris, for example, is like one of my favorite rap songs that's come out in the last, like, I don't know how many years, but it's such a big record, got the world so involved in rap music. And I always want to do that with Jay, but at the same time, whenever it comes down to it, I always end up just like going bars.
You just want to spit.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like he's definitely one of my favorite rappers and like one of my favorite people, period. So it's tough not to want to like just go off
just
and
rap.
Give people those moments. Yeah, that's
right.
what I want to do is just rap.
So you have like built a nice relationship with him.
I
with
mean,
Jay.
yeah, I think like one of the strongest, I think, if not the strongest.
Of all the other rappers?
Yeah, definitely.
Wow. Who knew?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, he's like he's just like an incredible mentor to me and gives me great guidance and is very, very supportive.
Things seem to have changed pretty quick, however, as a few months later, in February 2014, Drake had an interview with Rolling Stone, and he made a comment about how Jay makes a lot of art references in his music nowadays, and that he would love to collect art himself, but the rap art world thing is getting kind of corny. Also, when talking to Rolling Stone, Drake would state that the hit single Niggas in Paris from the Watch the Throne album inspired him to make his hit single Started from the Bottom from Nothing Was the Same. In March that year, Jay responded to Drake on the Jay Electronica track We Made It, which is a remix of the Soulja Boy song We Made It, which was featured on his 2013 mixtape The King. Shortly after the release of the Soulja Boy song, Drake put out a version with him rapping on it too. On Jay's verse, Z, not Electronica, he responds to Drake with the lines, "Sorry Mrs. Drizzy for so much art talk, silly me rapping about shit that I really bought, while these rappers rap about guns they ain't shot and a bunch of other silly shit that they ain't got." Up till this point, it was pretty subliminal, but these lines were direct and straight to the point. About a week later, Drake released the track Draft Day, on which he seemed to respond to Jay. He has the lines, "I'm focused on making records and getting bigger, just hits, no misses, that's for the married folk. Tell them fix my suite up cause I'm coming home. I heard they talking crazy I was out of town. You know they love to pop all that shit when I'm not around, but when I'm here, not a sound. That'll make me snap, jot it down, go in the booth and lay it body down." As I mentioned earlier, Jay-Z and Beyonce got married in 2008, and being out of town is a reference to how Drake was on tour at the time. Then he also makes a reference to Jay-Z with the lines, "I think I'm on my ace flow, just watch me paint flow. We all do it for the art, so I can never hate though." Those lines are a reference to Jay's line about how he has really bought the art that he raps about. Then Drake ends the verse saying that he left the beat playing at the end so someone can get their lives off, which can be seen as a reference to how Jay-Z responded to Drake using a beat that Drake had recently rapped on. Then in April that year, Drake was at an NBA game for the Toronto Raptors and Brooklyn Nets, and during the game he joined the Toronto Sports Network broadcast and he made a comment about Jay-Z, saying that he's somewhere eating a fondue plate. Considering Drake is from Toronto and Jay-Z is from Brooklyn, Drake likely felt it was fitting to throw in a Jay jab there. Not to mention Jay-Z also used to be a minority owner of the Nets.
Jay-Z somewhere eating a fondue plate.
Oh, we got the Drake and Jay-Z thing going.
Yeah, it's our time where, you know, we gotta keep it competitive. It's an ironic matchup.
Shortly afterwards, DJ Khaled released the song They Don't Love You No More featuring Meek Mill, Rick Ross, French Montana, and Jay-Z, which was the lead single from his then upcoming album, I Changed a Lot. Throughout Jay's verse, he appears to respond to Drake. He has the line, "Tell these crabs in the barrel we eatin' hella lobster." It might seem like a random line about eating seafood, but on draft day, Drake has a line about eating oysters, which are generally cheaper than lobster, so this could be seen as a braggadocious response from Jay. He ends his verse with a sports reference with the lines, "Niggas talking down to the crown, watch them niggas you round, got you wound, haters want a ball, let me tighten up my drawstring, wrong sport, boy you know you soft as a lacrosse team." Talking down on the crown can be seen as a response to Drake's line from I'm On One about taking the throne, and the title of the Drake song, Draft Day, is a reference to sports, hence the lacrosse line. Then in March 2015 was a press conference in which Jay-Z announced the streaming service Tidal, and multiple high-profile artists such as Madonna, Beyonce, and Kanye West were also on stage and all signed a contract to be partners in the streaming service. It was reported later on that Drake was supposed to be among the artists, but he backed out and instead chose to sign a deal with newly launched Apple Music. Then in January 2016, Drake released the track Summer 16, on which he threw shots at Meek Mill, former Young Money label mate Tyga, and others. On his second verse, he makes a reference to Jay-Z with the line, "I used to want to be on Rockefeller, then I turned into Jay." Then in the very next line, he also mentions how he has a bigger pool than Kanye, which again can be seen as a reference to Watch the Throne as well. Also keep in mind that Drake and Kanye had their own beef that has been on and off again since 2009 when they first started working together. The same day that Drake released Summer 16, Meek Mill responded with the track War Paint featuring O'Malley. He mentions Jay with the lines, "You ain't write it, nigga, we caught ya, can't erase that shit, and you claiming you Hove now, why you state that shit?" Which is a response to Drake's line from Summer 16, and then with the lines, "Culture vulture, now it's time to pay the tolls, soft as the lacrosse team, boy that's where the Hove," which is a callback to the line Jay has on They Don't Love You No More, about someone being soft. Meek Mill at the time was signed to Jay's company Roc Nation for management, and it seems that even he felt the Jay line was aimed at Drake. Ironically enough, a few months later in April, both Jay and Ye were featured on the Drake single Pop Style, credited as The Throne. However, while Ye rapped a whole verse, Jay only had 2 lines, leading people to question why didn't Jay dedicate a whole verse as well. Also on the album version of the song, the 2 were not featured at all and Drake has a second verse instead. Then in July that year, DJ Khaled released the single I Got the Keys from his then upcoming album Major Key. The track features Jay-Z and Future, and once again it appears that Jay had some lines that could be taken as a subliminal response to Drake. It's kind of funny how DJ Khaled is involved in this beef simply because he keeps putting these guys on his songs and they're sending shots at each other. He starts his first verse with the lines, "Niggas always asking me the key. Till you own your own, you can't be free. Till you're on your own, you can't be me. How are we still slaves in 2016? Then on his second verse, he has the lines, "Real life, I'm like Hove. Real life, I'm life goals. In real life, they're like me. In real life, I'm like, no. My swag different. That bag different. My wife Beyonce, I brag different." Now remember how in Draft Day, Drake had a line, "Just hits, no misses, that's for the married folk," and how in Summer 16 he had a line about becoming Jay, and you can see how this connects to what Jay said in this track. A few months later, in October that year, Drake released the track Sneakin' featuring 21 Savage, the day before his 30th birthday. On Drake's verse, he appears to continue the subliminal back and forth with Jay with the lines, "You ain't own it right away, you had to wait on niggas, man. I'm only 29, have some patience with us." As I mentioned a minute ago, Jay had lines about ownership, and he had pretty recently been given ownership of his catalog, minus reasonable doubt, as in 2004 he negotiated with Def Jam to be given his masters back after 10 years, and in 2013 he got them back. With that context, it seems to widen the gap business-wise between Jay and Drake, but basically Drake is saying that given the age gap between them, it might be a bit of an unfair comparison, and that Jay had to wait for years for ownership. Then in February 2017, DJ Khaled released the song Shining, featuring Beyonce and Jay-Z as the lead single from his then upcoming album Grateful. Like seriously, this is a freaking pattern now at this point, but yeah, anyway. On Jay's verse, he appears to respond to Drake once again with the lines, "I know you ain't out here talking numbers, right? I know you ain't out here talking summers, right? I know you ain't walking around talking down, saying boss shit when you a runner, right?" Once again, Drake, like a lot of rappers, have plenty of braggadocious lines, but given their back and forth over these years, this could be seen as yet another subliminal shot aimed at Drake, especially the line from Summer 16 where he said he turned into Jay. Then later that year, in November, while Jay was on his 444 tour, he had 2 shows in Toronto, and during the shows he put on a Drake song and was freestyling to the beat. On one day it was the song KNT from More Life, and on another day, Know Yourself from If You're Reading This, It's Too Late. So it would seem that he probably wasn't seeing the beef of Drake as a huge issue. In June 2018, Drake released his double disc album, Scorpion, which features the song Talk Up, featuring Jay-Z. As you can tell by the title, this is a sequel of sorts to Light Up. To me, it's the best of all the collaboration songs between Drake and Jay-Z. Also on the album is the song Survival, on which he talks about his various rap beefs like with Pusha T and Meek Mill. He seems to make a reference to his beef with Jay-Z, however, with the line, "Taking shots with the GOAT and talked about shots that we sendin'." Once again, Drake has stated that Jay-Z is one of his favorite rappers, so it would be a clear reference to Jay-Z and the shots that they have aimed at each other. Then in August that year, music executive and photographer Lenny S., known for his work at Rockefeller and Rock Nation, posted a picture on Instagram of Drake and Jay-Z together during the Detroit show on the On the Run 2 tour by Jay and Beyonce. A few months later in December, Drake made an appearance on Rap Radar, and they talked about the line from Survival and how he and Jay have respect for one another and really did talk things out, as the line states.
You take shots with the GOAT, you talk about the shots that you sent with Jay-Z, like why has that relation remained intact? Why has it never gone left?
I think that we have, I think Jay has a lot of respect for me, and he's aware of the massive amount of respect that I have for him at the end of the day. And I think we both enjoy we both enjoyed our moments of, him, checking the young boy and me trying to be like, nah, I'm here,
Any lines that stick out to you? You be like, oh, I know what you were talking about.
Yeah, of course. I mean, yeah, there's plenty. And that bar from that song is a real thing. We met up and really spoke about all our jabs and fallouts and what prompted some of those things and but
Which song was that you said? Which one?
No,
We're talking about
Survival.
talking about the bars that we send in.
Survival, yeah.
2 months later, in February 2020, Drake released a video for the songs When to Say When and Chicago Freestyle. When to Say When samples the Jay-Z song Cry from his Blueprint album, and part of the video was shot at the Marcy Projects in Brooklyn, which is where Jay-Z is from. So it would seem that Drake was paying homage to Jay-Z. The 2 songs were then featured on his mixtape Dark Lane Demo Tapes, which was released in May that year. That next year, in September, Drake released the album Certified Lover Boy, and Jay-Z is featured on the track Love All. So that makes it a total of 5 officially released songs between the 2, 1 on a Jay-Z album and 4 on Drake albums. However, if you count Pop Style, then it would be 6 songs. A few years later, in August 2024, the podcast, The Bigger Picture, put out an episode, and one of the topics they talked about was the relationship between Drake and Jay-Z and their collaborations.
I still love the first one.
Yeah, Light Up. That's my favorite.
Well, no,
you're talking about Paris Morton?
Well, you know what's interesting about I love the first two I like the most, Light Up and then Pound Cake and
Pound
the other
Cake,
one.
yeah.
But the funny thing about Pound Cake, he told me the story that was one of the rare times.
Who told you the story?
Drake.
Drake told
Drake
you.
and Jay. No, Drake really first at the Crown when I did Drake's Crown. That Jay loved that verse so much, it was on another record off Magna Carta. He asked for that verse. So they took the lyrics that Jay did, the verse, and put it to a different beat. So Jay doesn't rhyme to that. Jay's not rhyming to that beat.
Oh, that
was mixed together. So it's a rare time that Jay's rapping over something that he didn't rhyme to that beat.
I wonder if he did he get clearance from Jay for that?
Yeah. He charmed him. Yes, exactly.
Okay,
He charmed him. It's the rare time.
Elliot Wilson mentioned how Jay and Drake are two of his favorite rappers, and he encouraged them to talk to each other.
The funniest part is that him and Drake ended up going back and forth on records, rap records, and Jay predicted that people it was just so the age
don't
thing on
me.
that.
Don't remind me.
That was a bad time for you?
What was that time period like for Elliot Wilson? His two favorite rappers.
I told you the Mrs. Drizzy, Mr. Drizzy.
Yeah.
It was that. I was just trying to get them back. I got them back together. I got them to talk around the time when Drake was doing the tour with Lil Wayne, and they had a show in Queens, and then Drake came backstage and hugged me. He's like, I spoke to Hov. We're figuring it out. He was excited, they finally had talked.
He would also state that the comment Drake made about Jay-Z and rapping about art in the Rolling Stone interview was in Drake's perspective, something that was supposed to be off the record, which means that it wouldn't be public.
Because he said something disparaging in Rolling Stone.
Yeah.
He thought it was off the record.
Jay said something.
No, Drake. Drake said something negative
about his
Hov.
art music. He said all he has is art music. Nobody listens to that shit. Nobody can relate. But it was supposed to be off the record.
He considered it off the record. That he was critical of Jay's musical direction and saying he didn't want to go that way with his music. And
then
he felt it was off the record at the time.
So it's possible that if Drake's comment never got public, Jay might have never responded directly to him and caused the several other jabs they sent at each other afterwards. That next month, it was announced that Kendrick Lamar would be headlining the Super Bowl in February 2025. As Jay-Z is a key figure in the decision for who gets to be the performer at the Super Bowl halftime show, some people came to the conclusion that Kendrick was picked as another dig at Drake by Jay-Z, considering that both he and Kendrick have had problems with Drake. Some have even guessed that this is some kind of overarching issue that Jay-Z has with Young Money, considering his beef with Lil Wayne, Drake, and the tension that's there between Nicki Minaj and Jay-Z as well. Others, however, had rationalized it as just the obvious choice given how big of a year Kendrick had in 2024 with the song Not Like Us being the biggest rap song of the year. Fast forward to March 2026, and Jay-Z had an interview with GQ, and he was asked about his thoughts on the beef between Kendrick Lamar and Drake. He would state that things had gotten too negative and that he doesn't know if battling should be part of the culture anymore.
And the last pillar is battling. We love the excitement, and I love the sparring and the music you get. Mm-hmm. But in this day and age, it's so much negative stuff that comes with it. They almost wish it didn't happen.
Really?
Yeah, because it's almost like it's a final thing. Now, people that like Kendrick hate Drake.
Yeah.
No matter what he makes, no matter what he says, and it goes far too. It's like attack on his character and his thing and it's like, I don't know if I love that.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's helpful to our growth.
Then he would go on to explain that he didn't pick a side in the beef by picking Kendrick for the Super Bowl. It was just an obvious choice as Kendrick had the biggest moment of the year.
I hate that I have this point of view. I do, because I know what it sounds like. I know what it feels like. I hate it. It's just how I feel about it.
Well, it even kind of extended to you, right? Because people made it a personal thing that you chose Kendrick for the Super Bowl. It's like, oh man, he's choosing the side and he's and he's not.
Like I don't have, what do I have to do with that? I chose the guy that was having a monster year. I think it was the right choice.
Word.
It wasn't in some sort of alliance to a battle. I don't.
Yeah.
What I care about them two guys battling, like, what's that got to do with me?
Word.
Have at it. Have fun. it's almost like not just me, by the way. They drag everybody in it. Like everyone's part of this conspiracy to undermine Drake, I guess. But like, what the fuck? Like, what? I'm fucking Jay-Z.
Now, what are your thoughts on the beef? Do you think they'll put out more music together anytime soon? Who took the crown in this subliminal sparring match? Which song out of the ones they were on together is your favorite? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Remember to click that button to subscribe to the channel and check out the links in the description box below to follow on other platforms, join the Discord server, and to check out the Patreon page where you can support by becoming a Patreon member.